3, 2, 1, now.
Between 12th and 17th November, India has flexed its missile muscle. If you look at the 3 successful tests that were carried out in this period, then the world has sat up and taken notice of India's quest for self-reliance in missile power. Let's look at what happened on 17th of November, which was a Sunday. India for the first time tested the hypersonic missile, which is a completely difficult technology to master and even acquire. So that's a historic occasion, as the Defence Minister describes it. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called it a historic moment and a stupendous achievement. Why is it stupendous? Because only 3 other countries so far, besides India now joining the club, have managed to get that technology right. And they are China, Russia and the United States. India, of course, has to spend some more time in doing all this to perfect it, to validate it, and then go into productionizing the missile. But to just give you the lethality, and it's an affordable lethality that India has acquired or is about to acquire. Hypersonic missile travels at 1.5 kilometers per second, which is at least 5 times the speed of sound. Whereas this test, according to the press release issued by the Ministry of Defence, went out, I think the press release didn't mention, but some people have mentioned it, that it is tested at the speed of 6 times the speed of sound. And therefore, India has actually joined the elite club. Now, of course, the further development will have to take place. How is a hypersonic missile different from a ballistic missile? A ballistic missile cannot be maneuvered mid-course, whereas a hypersonic missile can be done. A ballistic missile has to go on a set trajectory. So all that distinctions are there. But the other 2 missiles are interesting, and one of them, in fact, I have done a small program on that, which you would have seen, on the Pinaka enhanced range and the guided Pinaka rocket that was tested. Guided Pinaka rocket again gives maneuverability to what is an essentially a area weapon, which has a range now of nearly 70 kilometers. From 37 kilometers for the Mark 1 of Pinaka, India has now graduated to 70 kilometers of maneuverable Pinaka rocket. That happened on, I think, it happened on 14th of November. And the other important missile that was test fired successfully is the long-range land attack cruise missile. The test was conducted on November 12th. Now, this makes India's adversaries, which are well known, China and Pakistan, sit up, because this gives additional firepower, additional options to Indian armed forces once these 3 missiles are, Pinaka is already inducted into the Indian armed forces. The other 2 will, of course, take some time, as I mentioned, but to have the technology and master the technology, it's a big deal. And I think the adversaries are going to they have sat up and taken notice. This also gives additional options, like I said, to the Indian Navy or to the tri-service organizations, which can fire from the land-based missile, maybe a base, against ships, which comes to mind. One of the things that come to my mind really is, if some of these missiles are based in Andaman and Nicobar Islands or in Lakshadweep, then it brings a large area in the Indian Ocean and in the Bay of Bengal under its envelope, as they say, under the envelope of the missiles, which also acts as a deterrent against 2 of India's adversaries, China and Pakistan. That's the importance. So it can rightly be called an important week for India's missile program, and therefore one must look at how this develops going further. The hypersonic missile, which of course, like I said, has 2 different varieties. One is the glide vehicle, hypersonic glide vehicle, and the other is hypersonic cruise missile, which can maneuver itself at a very low altitude, almost uninterceptable by any radar or any countermeasure taken by the adversary. So a lot of firepower is being acquired, a lot of deterrence is being acquired by India, Indian Armed Forces, and right money for right programs is now finally being spent by the Indian defense scientists under the guidance of the government or the Ministry of Defense. That's all I wanted to share with you. Do keep watching our channel and of course keep sending us feedback. We'll bring to you some of these interesting tidbits in important developments in India's strategic sector, not just defense but strategic sector. I'm Nitin Gokhale.